Summer.
My wife says next summer we'll make a trip to Montreal.
Okay, amazing.
Right?
Baruch atah
You can't
Adonai
buy
Eloheinu melech
books
haolam,
every day.
shehakol nהיה bidvarei.
Ask
L'chaim,
your
l'chaim,
mother to
everybody.
switch to
Welcome.
accessible.
Good tavach, a good week, and a great way to start the week with the Rebbe's Maimer, Hasidic Discourse, which actually we're coming to a close. The discourse, the last discourse that we got so far from Mashiach, from the Rebbe, it's our marching orders for Gimel Tammuz. And Moshe Rabbeinu, he commands, he connects us to the Ein Sof. We're all connected to God on our own, but Moshe Rabbeinu, he feeds the flock, feeds them faith, feeds them that they can touch the core of their soul. Which on our own, difficult to reach there. We wouldn't be able to reach there. And then we give something back to Moshe. What do we give back? That we, by enabling us to touch the core of our soul, the essence of our soul, that we are now able to bring that and make it internalized. Internalized, what's the internal makeup of a person? Their mind and their heart, their intelligence and their feelings, that you internalize it and you make it real for you. Well, where will that be expressed? That it'll become something that we are not compelled from the outside, but we are compelled from the inside, that is completely owned by us, is that, you know, the nature of our soul, when you feed faith, the faith of the soul is that we want to be connected to God. Simple. I want to be connected. That's the nature of the soul. The core essence of the soul, the way it's rooted in God, that what we can reveal is that not only I want to be connected to God, but I want God to be connected to and to be revealed everywhere, in every person, in every situation. And the fact that there isn't that revelation, that bothers us. It breaks us, it crushes us. That's the metaphor, right? Crushed. The olives are crushed. It brings out the luminary. So what is done, we get crushing circumstances that crush us, and that brings out the core of us when there's a decree against us, right? When heaven, like the story of Purim, crushing circumstance, but that's compelling from above, not from within. It's kind of forced to bring out something deeper in us. You know, as the old saying goes, if it doesn't break you, then it'll make you. Won't crush you, then you grow from it, right? I just made that up, I think. I don't think anybody said that. Right? It says, if it won't, no, there is a saying, but it wasn't. If it won't break you, it'll make you. Well, but yeah, what was it? Yeah, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? So this is even so whew. So here, though, what's making you from beyond you that is revealing, it's compelling you. It's not of you. What's of you? Who are you? Well, your soul is bound up with Hashem. So that's who you are. Bound up with Hashem. And so when something's compelling on the outside that wants to take you away from that, like the story of Purim, or actually just wants to destroy you entirely, so we connect more deeply. As the story of this mimer that's based on the previous Rebbe in 1927, when he said his discourse, which in the time he said this discourse, there were agents from the KGB. At that time, they weren't called the KGB. They're called the NKDV or VD. They were called then. And there were those who were Jewish, who knew Yiddish really well, because they came from observant homes and even from Chabad Hasidic homes. But they were taken by the ism of the day, communism. And they were part of the Yosefskia, which is the Jewish party of the Communist Party, there to get the previous Rebbe imprisoned, which what happened, right? And which we just celebrated. Yud Beis Gimel Tammuz, his freedom. So that's coming from beyond. That's not coming from within. The KGB is after you, so you go underground with your Jewish life on self-sacrifice. But that was something that was compelled from the outside. And therefore, when there wasn't, and that same person who lived afterwards in America or England or wherever that there was freedom, well, they didn't live in the same kind of sacrifice. Sacrifice doesn't mean to give up your life necessarily, but it does mean to go beyond your natural tendency, right? Which we go beyond when we're forced to. The true core of the soul is something that Moshe cannot give us. He can inspire it, but he can't give it to us. Because we have to make it real for us. Internalize it. No one can internalize something for me. No one can make it real for me, God. No one can do it. I can do it only for myself. You can only do it for yourself. Right? The authenticity of God, the truth that I understand intellectually. Yes, intellectually, that's Chabad. Right? Understand the teachings. That doesn't mean it's pure logic or pure rationality. Right? It is rational. Could you say otherwise? Yeah. But not when you're inspired by Moshe Rabbeinu, by the Moses generation, by the Rebbe. You're inspired because he feeds you faith, that it becomes real on a faith level, but then we ourselves have to make it real for us on an inside job, meaning internalizing it with our minds, which then will bring to our heart to have a feeling for that divine connection. And this will also then bring to a greater unity amongst the Jewish people. If the unity is only based on the soul, which primarily is the idea that the souls are all rooted in one with God, the Jewish souls above, and that's what makes us brothers and sisters, literally, not figuratively, from the soul perspective, right? Um, but from that perspective, the unity is sort of like an addition to me, as opposed to that it is me, right? And therefore, you're going to make the soul primary and the body secondary. That's as we learned in the 32nd chapter of Tanya. But through revealing the core essence of the soul, the way it's rooted in the essence of God, then and as a result, the inside of us, meaning our intelligence and emotions, our powers of the soul, are one with and aligned totally with the essence of the soul, then our unity with another Jew will be even in things that are materialistic, not just spiritual. They will be expressed in the material. So there'll be even a greater unity. In others, doing a favor for someone materially or spiritually becomes an equal thing, in a sense. So through this, then we can understand in the discourse. It says, so I'm going to answer now the fourth and final question that the verse says that Moshe, he commands, which means to connect, the Bnei Israel, the children of Israel, to Hashem, right? Revealing in them their core being. And then they will take to Moshe the pure crushed olive oil that is for the Ma'or, which is expressing the core essence of them, right? We're now reciprocating, right? And as a result, it will be a ner tamid. There'll be an eternal light. The next verse says, though, that this is speaking about the light for the menorah, for the candelabra, that it will be from evening to day. So we ask the question, is it eternal light? Which means it's all the time, not from evening to morning, right? So seems to be a contradiction. The law is in, the simple, and here we're learning it, in a deeper manner. But the simple law is that you light the menorah before evening, and it has to be enough oil to last till the morning, right? In a winter evening, right, which is longer. But the verse says ner tamid, right? A continuous light. So is it continuous, right? So on this here, so it depends. When you get inspired by the Moses of the generation, the Rebbe, so then he will inspire you that there'll be a difference between night and day. Because the times of night, darkness in your life, darkness in the world, right? That he will inspire the core of your soul, that you will be able now to reach the core of your soul. And in times of darkness, that you're going to be a light. You're going to have Mesiras Nefesh. You're going to have a sacrifice. You're going to be able to put yourself aside and sacrifice for Hashem. Whether it's the communists, time of darkness, whether it was the story of Purim, time of darkness, then you'll be able to do that. However, there's be a distinction between night and day, right? Erev Baker, right? There'll be, because daytime means that the light of God is there, a time where things are good, materially and spiritually. There'll be a distinction because, as we see, that those people who had sacrifice, when it came to a time where they didn't need to sacrifice, they didn't, right? Again, sacrifice doesn't mean to merely just give up your life. Sacrifice means going beyond the human condition. So when the communists came after you, or the decree in the times of Purim of Haman to annihilate all the Jewish people, well, those circumstances and darkness compelled to bring out that great light from within, that we stood strong because of the inspiration of Mordechai in the times of Purim, of the previous Rebbe in the times under the communists, and they stood strong, ready even to give up their lives. But then, when they didn't have that circumstance, so sacrifice means just rising beyond the human condition. Well, there was nothing compelling, so we live our lives, good lives. It doesn't mean we're doing, no, it doesn't mean pleasure-seeking people here. We're talking about, really, we're talking about rising above the human condition. Human condition is, when it's dark, you falter. No, they didn't falter. They rose to the occasion. Hi. However, so then why does it say Ner Tamida, continuous light? Is because it comes after saying that what we will bring, the pure olive oil that's crushed, and why is it, what's the crushing over here, is the exile, that the light of God is not revealed, whether in me, or even if it's revealed to me, but it's not revealed everywhere. And that's crushing. That's something, an inside job, right? That you care that the light of God should be illuminated everywhere. And that's continuous. There's no distinction there, right? Because that the light of God should illuminate the world. Well, there's no distinction. This place in the world, that place in the world, this person, that person. It's continuous. Where's that come? That can only come from the individual, that they care, that it bothers them, that the light of God is in somewhere. What does that mean in an actualized way? Is, that you didn't put on tefillin, and you want to inspire them to put on tefillin. You're not going to force them, but you care that there should be, that person should put on tefillin, because when they put on tefillin, they bring the light of God. That person who puts on tefillin already might be even committed, but doesn't learn Chassidus, so they don't have the light of God more deeply attached to, that they're more deeply attached to this light of God. So you care to bring it to them. And not only care, but it bothers you that if they don't have it. Well, where does that come from? It's not because you're missing something. God's missing in the world. That's a very profound, right? That's continuous. There's no distinction. Now, what the Rebbe says is interesting. The whole verse is, it says, God says in the verse, you shall command the children of Israel, meaning to connect the children of Israel is the way we're understanding it, right? And what are you commanding them? That they should bring to you. So even in their doing, it's a command of Moshe. And command means an empowerment. So even that which we need to do is to internalize this continuous light, meaning that we are bothered, that even crushed, because the light of God is not everywhere, which is the idea of Mashiach, right? That's the idea of Mashiach. Because the idea of Mashiach is that the light of God will be everywhere, that all people will recognize God's presence. All people will recognize God as, the true reality. And that bothers us, that it's not there in the entire world. We get that empowerment from God himself. I mean, from the Moshe Rabbeinu of the generation, because he commands us that we have to bring the olive oil crushed, meaning he's giving us the empowerment. In the end, we got to do it, right? We've got to do it. How do we do it? Is with our own strength, with our own power. Yes, empowerment of the Rebbe, but with our own empowerment, that empowerment, we got to do the work of internalizing this truth that the world should be, the light of Hashem, and that should be constant, and that it is crushed. And through this, we will merit the Bikar of Mamish very soon, the final and complete redemption, the true redemption. That then will be the revelation of godliness, not from above, but from below. In other words, it will be the true, authentic reality of creation. And then we'll bring the oil to light the menorah, also in physically in the third and final holy temple, with the true complete redemption through Mashiach, our righteous one, Bikarav Mamish. That we finish the discourse. Psh. Wow. All right. Mazel tov. See you shortly. Thank you.